everyone, it's Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making a duck fold-it card using this die from the Stamps of Life. And the die comes in 3 different pieces. You have the large piece that makes the A2 size card. Then you have the layering piece that goes on top, and there is a piece for its wing. So I'm going to be using this paper. I have a solid piece of candy paper, and I also have a pink and white polka dotted piece of pattern paper from the Together collection. So I'm going to start out by making the fold-it card, the actual card base. So when you do that on all fold-it cards, you will need to fold your cardstock in half. Okay, so we start out with a piece of cardstock that's folded in half, and you take the largest die, and on the largest die there are 2 places where you can do your fold. You can either do it at the top or you can do it on the side. So I'm going to make a top folding card, and on your die it will say place fold here or place fold here. So if you want to make a top folding card, you are going to place your fold. So your die is going to go right above where your fold is going to be. So you can see here that the die isn't covering the entire sheet of paper. It's just slightly above where that fold is. Now if I wanted to make a side fold, I would do the same thing, but on the side. So again, it's not going to be completely over the paper. You're just going to leave a little bit of edge here so that your card opens on the side. Okay, so I'm going to have it open from the top. I'm going to grab a piece of washi tape, and I am simply going to just add a piece of washi there, and I'm going to run this through my die cut machine just like that. And then for the layering piece that goes on top, I am going to cut that out of my polka dotted pattern paper, and that's going to go right like that. And then for my wing, the wing is going to be cut out of just a single piece, just a single piece of the pink cardstock. So I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just cut this in half, because this is the only piece that I need the double layer. And then for this piece, I'm just going to cut a single layer there. And those 3 pieces are going to go through my die cut machine. So here's my 3 pieces. And for his beak, or say for her beak, I want to get a piece of solid pink. So I'm just going to take the die cut, and it's the one that looks like this, and I'm just going to die cut that beak out. So here's the piece that comes out of the die cut machine, and you can see that there are some lines here, and I'm just going to cut those away because it's already pretty much cut out for me. I just need to snip this piece. And then that's going to go right on there like that. So we'll glue all those together in just a moment. All right, and so for the eye, I am going to just take the same die cut and cut a piece of the licorice cardstock out to cut the eye. All right, so let's start gluing all of this together. Let's go ahead and add the eye. Okay, and I'm going to hold off on this piece just because I want to add another, I want to add a sentiment here, and I don't know if that piece is going to look good underneath the sentiment, but we'll see. I am going to use the sweet sentiment, and that's going to be added right inside, right on top here. So I'm going to die cut that out of the mint chip. So the shadow layer is going to be die cut out of the mint chip. And the word sweet is going to be die cut out of white. And on the white, I'm going to add some double-sided adhesive on the back. That'll be easier for me to stick my letters to that shadow layer by adding the double-sided adhesive. So we'll add that, and we'll run this through our die cut machine. Just like I'm going to add the sweet and the candy, and I'm going to run a piece of adhesive tape over the back of this before I run this through my die cut machine. So now we'll just adhere these pieces together. And that's gonna go on the front just like that. So if you were to add this piece would go right here. But I'm adding the sentiment to the top, and I don't think that piece is gonna look good behind the sentiment, so I'm gonna leave that off and I'll save that for another project. And the word sweet's gonna go right across the front. And for the inside, I'm gonna use the Punch Alpha uppercase letters, and I'm gonna have the word baby, B-A-B-Y, and their shadow layers. So I'm gonna get the shadow layers. And the shadow layers I think we'll do out of the green again. And the top letters will be out of the pink. So we'll cut those out. And then we need some pink, which is the candy cardstock, and I put double-sided adhesive on the back, and we will cut the individual letters out of that. So I'll go ahead and adhere these letters. Okay, and the last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna take some of this ribbon, and I went ahead and I tied a bow, and that's gonna go up at the top, which I'm gonna hot glue to the top. All right, so we're gonna add some hot glue to the back and add that bow right to the top. So here is my card. I think it turned out really cute. So it says sweet, and when you open it up, it says baby, and there's plenty of room to write a message in there. This next card, I'm actually going to make an A2 sized card and put the duck on the card. So I'm going to be using this die set. This is the medium dotted background. I think this is super cute because it looks like bubbles. So we're going to take both of these pieces. The die set comes with both of these pieces. So we're going to put these together just like this. Make sure that the rectangular piece is over top of that. And we are going to die cut this white piece out. All right, so this is the piece that I get. This is my background. This is gonna be the front piece to my background die layer. And make sure you save these little circles that are coming out, because we're gonna use those on this card. You're going to use them. So then I'm gonna take my pool paper, and using the same die, I am going to take just the rectangle, and I'm going to die cut this piece out because that color is going to show up in the background of the front piece. So it will actually be layered on top just like that. So now I'm going to turn this white piece over. I'm going to add some liquid glue. And I find, I know some people might want to put the double-sided adhesive on this before, I should say on the paper, before running it through the die cut machine. But here's the deal. If you do that, and then once you adhere these pieces together, if it's off at all, and the papers don't line up, then you're gonna end up having to die cut again, because once you apply the double-sided tape, it's very difficult to reposition it. I mean, that's what I find, because the tape that I use is a very strong double-sided tape. Although you might have a tape that's not as strong and you might be able to reposition it, but that's just what I find. So I'm just gonna apply the liquid glue just because I find that easier. You gotta make sure that you get all of the edges. And that way, once I apply this, I can reposition it if I need to. So I have some wiggle room. All right, the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this wave die. This actually came with, what is the name of it? All right, so the wave die came with the sailboat to stamp. it was from the die set that came with this. So I'm gonna use that to die cut a wave out of this pool paper, and that way I can add this to my card. All right, so I just ran that through, and once that comes out of the die cut machine, you just have to snip off the edges here. And then you just basically position it where you want it to go. Obviously it's gonna go at the bottom of the card. So I'm just gonna apply some liquid glue just right along the edge here. And then I'm going to add my wave border. And then I'm gonna take my scissors and I'm just gonna snip off what I'm not using. So snip off what extends beyond the card layer. Oh, I love these colors. I love this blue. It is so pretty. And against the white, it just makes everything pop. So now I'm ready to die cut my duck and put my duck together. And I'm gonna go this time with a pattern paper. And this paper is, let's see what paper pad this is. This is the Birthday Wishes paper pad. And I'm going with the yellow. It has some little squiggly lines, and I'm gonna die cut. This is the smaller duck die, which I'm gonna die cut out of this paper. I die cut the largest layer out of the banana. Okay, and then I've got the smaller layer out of the patterned cardstock, and I'm gonna layer those two together. But before I do that, I'm gonna go ahead and ink up these edges. I'm gonna use my banana ink and just ink around these edges. So I'm just gonna attach these layers. For its wing, I did die cut a piece of the powdered sugar, and I'm going to lay this piece flat. And then I took the banana that I did the ink blending, and I put some foam on the back of that. And I'm just going to add this to there. You can see a little bit of the white peeking through, but there is some dimension there. I think that adds a nice touch. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and add my duck to this card layer. Okay, and then I went ahead and cut another piece of this wave border because I want to add it here, making it look like he's actually in the water. So it's gonna end up going at the very bottom, and we'll have to cut the excess off. So I think I'm just gonna put some glue right here along this bottom part. Come in and take my scissors and just trim off this excess. Isn't that cute? Oh, I love it. Okay, and then my card base is Lemonade A2 size card base. And then this is just gonna go right on top of that card base. So I'm gonna use some of these bubbles that came out of the die, and I just positioned them where I want them to go. And I'm going to just place them in the water, and I just think it just adds a really cute touch. Just makes it look like that there's just soap bubbles. So I think it turned out, I think that's really cute. So I'm just gonna take a couple of the sizes and just put them around. For the sentiment, I cut a piece of the powdered sugar cardstock out of the Die Happy for banner, and I have a stamp from the Happy for Banners 2 stamp set, and it is You Are My Sunshine, and I'm just going to stamp this out with the banana ink right on top of this banner. So here's the banner, And watch this, this is so stinking cute. This banner is gonna go right here. Look how it fits perfectly. And it looks like it was made for this duck. I think that it will look like it's almost like a scarf or some type of neck collar for it. So that's where it's going, right here. That is perfect. Okay, so there is my card. I think that turned out super, super cute. So making a banner, and I cut out this die 5 times in the lemonade. And then I used the shadow layer to cut out that piece 5 times in the banana. And I'm going to adhere these together. So here's my ducks. They're all put together. Next, I used the scallop circle dies, and I die cut 2 scallop dies, one of the larger ones out of the powdered sugar, which is the white cardstock, and then the immediate size under that out of that pattern paper that you see. And I did that 5 times and just adhered those together. And those circles are going to have the letters twins on them. Using the punch alphabet set, I did die cut the shadow layer of that letter die set out of the banana cardstock, and I also die cut the letters out of the pool cardstock, and I did put the double-sided adhesive on the back of that pool cardstock before running those letters through the die cut machine. So here you see me just adhering all of those letters, and then those will be adhered to the front of those scallops. And then each one of those scallop circles will be adhered to each duck to spell the word twins. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and hot glue some ribbon onto the backs of these ducks. And what I've done is I have put them all on, made sure they're all on the same line, okay? And from where the duck's beak is, I measured 1 inch from the beak to the back side of his tail to make sure they're all spaced 1 inch apart, okay? And I'm gonna run this ribbon directly through the, through where the beak is, okay? So it's going across the head, through the beak, okay? And I'm gonna do that for each duck. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna place some hot glue. So I'm just gonna place a hot glue strip just right across that line. Okay, and I'm going to do that for each one. So again, making sure that they are still the same height and the same distance apart, running the hot glue right across from where his beak is. All right, so as far as cutting the strings on the end, just make sure they're the same size on each end, and mine are about 22 inches, so I made sure they were both the same size on each end. And one thing I forgot to do, which I'm going to go back and do now, is I forgot to add the beak color. So I'm going to go ahead and cut those out of the banana cardstock, and I'm going to do that now. So I just ran the beak through the die cut machine with the banana cardstock just like this, and that gives me, I did it 5 times, and that gives me these, and I'm just cutting this extra piece apart, and then that will be adhered directly to the top of this beak. Just add some more color here, and we'll do that to all 5 of them. So here are all the projects that I made using the Duck Fold It. So as you saw here was the banner. I also have the card where the duck is on the front of the card. It looks like he's swimming in a bubble bath. Super cute. And I also have the actual Fold It card. Did this one in pink, put the sweet sentiment on it, baby on the inside. So those are my 3 projects. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them below. And otherwise, have a great day. Bye-bye.